Hello everybody, my name is KingStix and patch 8.14 has finally dropped. You should see it next time you go into your League of Legends client. You should see an update and that's what this is. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. I want to let you know right away that this patch has solved the gold funneling crisis. Before we get into that, let's look at the 𝐒𝐿𝐿 change that happened this patch. 𝐒𝐿𝐿 has been a menace, especially in higher elo. There's really no way to contest him in lane. He has too much range. His cooldowns are low. His damage is insane. No one can really fight him 1v1, and he'll bully you throughout the early, mid, and early late game. In the true late game, he falls off a little bit, but for the most part, he's insane for the first 30 minutes of the game. Not surprising, we are seeing some nerfs. We're seeing a health nerf by 30 onto his base health. This won't mean anything because most people in lane won't even get him very low on health. So this change isn't going to do anything whatsoever. And then we are seeing the base damage on his Q come down by quite a bit at rank 1. It's going from 20 to 10. This will make him a lot more fightable at level 1. And then the other nerf on his Q is they took away some of its minion pushing power in its earlier levels. Not a big deal. Hopefully he will be a little bit more fightable now if you were playing an all-in champion like Riven or Fiora. Next, we are seeing a 4-second increased cooldown on his E. Very important. Glad to see that. And on World Ender, they decided it needed a buff. So they made it scale even higher with his total attack damage. To counteract that, whenever he's on his ulti and you kill him, his Q's recast timer is now frozen, which is huge because he could all in you. Then you'd put him down when he's on his ultimate. And then whenever he revives, by that time his Q will already be off of cooldown and then he'll just smack you again. Kind of like how Vladimir spell cycles between Blood Pool, spells, Hourglass spells. Overall, 𝐒𝐿𝐿 is still going to be a highly contested pick, especially in higher elo. This change won't stop that, but in general, this is a step in the right direction. Then we have Fizz. I'm not too keen on this change. Long story short, Fizz will no longer mark you and do extra damage with his W. Now instead, it has higher base damage. And if he doesn't kill the target with his empowered W, he gets a bunch of extra damage for 5 seconds. It's going to bring back Bruiser Tank Fizz. I believe you're going to start seeing that a lot more with this change because he's incentivized for staying in the fight forever, not necessarily getting kills, but just hacking people down like a bruiser would do. So maybe you might start seeing some Conqueror Fizz with things like Trinity Force and Hourglass, stuff like that. And now we have some dumb little changes. A joke of a buff to Jinx, a joke of a buff to Karma, not even worth mentioning really. Joke of a buff to Sion, joke of a buff to Twitch. And then just showing us some mid-patch updates that have already happened before this official patch 8.14 got released. These aren't even worth looking at. And now we have some simple buffs. Technically it says, I believe this Ahri one is actually a fairly large buff considering level 1, her charm costs 15 less mana and has 0.4 increased CC. So instead of being 1 second, it's 1.4. She usually maxes her charm last. That's going to be pretty big for her. That's nearly a half a second more of CC for free. I think that's actually a medium-sized buff. Cassiopeia gets a tiny buff. Corki gets a medium-sized buff, in my opinion. Gatling Gun gets 40 extra base damage at level 1. That's pretty huge. Plus the resistance is doubled at level 1 as well. Definitely going to be seeing some more Corki in the mid lane. And maybe even bot lane if he's against melee champions. Elise gets a joke of a buff. Nasus gets an interesting buff. I don't think it will matter. He gets a little bit more lifesteal earlier on, and then late game he has a little bit more as well. I don't think he'll be able to compete with Conqueror top laners or Conqueror mid laners. I guess this is a step in the right direction. I don't know. I don't feel like Nasus is a healthy champion anyways, but this is a little bit of a joke of a buff. It might be kind of annoying for low elo players because I know a Nasus can cause havoc in low elo because no one knows how to deal with him. He gets his stacks and he's a pain in the butt. Next, we have Pantheon. He's getting 8% bonus attack speed and 10 extra damage on his shield. It may not seem like a lot, but for Pantheon jungle, this could really make the difference whenever he is fighting a auto attack based champion like Graves or Xin Zhao. You'll probably see Tarzan playing a little bit more Pantheon in the jungle right now. Rek'Sai is getting buffs on her Q and on her R on the damage scaling, but it's only going up by a very tiny amount. It's not enough to make a Rek'Sai viable. Silver's getting a joke of a buff. Vel'Koz, I don't want to say it's a joke, but it's really not that big. He's getting 0.2 extra AP on his Q. Vayne is getting a late game buff. I don't think this is very important because Vayne is such garbage right now. She can't compete with Conqueror, Bruisers, or longer range AD carries or mages. So this extra 2% max health damage at its max rank, I don't know how much that will help. Maybe if she has Rage Blade and she's playing off of that, so the 2% differential becomes more like a 4, maybe. But since no one's really playing tank champions, I don't see how that 2% max health damage is really going to come into play. Next, we see Vi get some jokes of a buff on her base attack speed. It went up by 0.019. That doesn't really seem like anything to me on her base attack speed. And then her ultimate got a cooldown buff, not enough to make Vi good. Victor is getting a buff on his W. It's not that big of a deal, but it's definitely going to be a quality of life improvement for Victor, because trying to get people inside of it from a distance is a little bit tricky. Hopefully this will help him out a little bit. Now we have these simple nerfs. One thing I don't like about Riot's new system, so they go by simple nerfs, and then over here, as you can see, we got simple buffs. They don't typically go into any thought process. So here they give you thought process of Ahri, and then here they don't tell you why they did it for Cass. They don't tell you why they did it for Corki, Elise, Nasus, and then you get an explanation for Pantheon, but not Rek'Sai, Sivir, Vel'Koz, or Vayne, or Vi, or Victor. They just don't tell you anything like why, what's the thought process or anything. And I feel like it's just a lazy excuse for whoever's making this page on the balance team to just not put in any effort or even bother trying to explain themselves. All right, and so for the first simple nerf, we have Dr. Mundo. His Cleaver's health refund is going from 50% to 40%. It's literally going to make no difference whatsoever. Rakan's getting a joke of a nerf. Sejuani is getting a sizable nerf on her ultimate. The max stun duration is going from 2 seconds to 1.5. This is completely based around pro play. Sejuani's garbage in solo queue right now. She's still seen in the pro scene. Shen, another pro scene based change. He's garbage in solo queue right now. They're taking his Q all the way down from 35% slot level 1 down to 15%. This is going to force him to have to max it 100%, or at least think about it, because that massive difference takes away a lot of his killing power. And then we have Swain. Swain did need this nerf. He's a monster in solo queue and in pro play. He just does a lot of damage and he's very tanky. So they are removing some of the AP scaling on his R's, max explosion damage ratio. I think you're still going to be seeing a lot of Swain, because Swain's still really good pre-6, and this change isn't going to affect him that much once he is level 6. This is a step in the right direction though, and I think they just need to cut down on his wave clear a little bit. It's pretty abusive. And we're also seeing a nerf on Talon. He's a solo queue god, but they're nerfing his damage late game, and Talon's all about the early game anyway, so I don't think this will really matter. Wukong is getting a joke of a nerf on his base damage on his dash. He's losing 40 damage at its basically max rank, but Wukong's an early game champion for the most part as well. He typically gets kills on lane pre-6 and at level 6, so I don't think this will really matter. Since Wukong has like a 56% win rate right now, maybe this will hack it down to a 54%. Still going to be pick and ban, highly contested in solo queue especially. And Zoe is getting 2 nerfs, thank God. She's getting a base damage nerf on her W at later ranks, significant of 50 damage. Her damage ratio scaling going down by 10%. That's definitely a good thing. I'm excited about that. But in general, like I said, I really wish they'd give some of the thought process behind this. Zoe's still going to be good. Wukong is still going to be good. Talon's going to be good. Swain's going to be good. Don't pick these 2 in solo queue. Rakan's good. Mundo, only pick him if you know what you're playing him against. And this is the bread and butter. This is the clickbait. This is how I get the kids in the van. Now funneling gold is going to be a lot less powerful, and you're most likely better off just not bothering whatsoever. So if you do build a jungle item because you want SMITE and you want to be able to farm camps to get the most experience possible, if you don't have SMITE in the jungle item, then you get like half experience from jungle monster. So this is what the funneling strategy relies on. Anyways, if you do have a jungle item, and if you have the most gold on your team, so if you're funneling the gold into yourself or into your ally, then you will be receiving 10 less gold from every lane minion, which is a really big deal because most lane minions I think right now grant like 18 or 20 gold, really not much. This penalty is removed upon completion of an enchantment, so once you upgrade it all the way, then you should be good to go. With the current bot lane meta, teleport is really common for laners to take instead of heal, and it's pretty much just farming up and waiting to shove in the other person to take first turret. Not surprising to see that teleport's cooldown is being increased by 1 whole minute, and if you cancel it, it's going to be 40 seconds longer. I think you're still going to see people taking it, especially in the pro scene. I think this will kill it at least somewhat in solo queue, so you should be seeing a lot less of it, hopefully, as long as people catch on to, oh wait, it's a whole minute longer. That's a pretty big deal. Sweet baby Jesus, they nerfed Conqueror. They finally done it, boys. Hashinshin's in his room crying his eyes out right now. It's kind of funny because they only nerfed it by 4 damage at rank 1 from 10 to 6. I don't think this is going to be that big of a deal. I think you're still going to be seeing Conqueror champs a lot. Ghost Pro is getting an interesting update. Rather than just spawning in any bush you enter, which is really annoying. Now once you're in a bush, it replaces your trinket and you can choose to use it whenever you want. Also, whenever an enemy enters it, you'll get extra damage against that enemy, like whenever they scare it away or whatever. Zombie Ward is also getting a damage buff. Damaging a champion after destroying a ward inflicts 30 to 90 damage. I think you're going to be seeing support players probably taking this, especially damage ones like Bard or Brand. They're going to be fighting for controls and then trying to all in with this damage maybe. It's a bit of an interesting change. There's been a cursor update. I've been dreading this a little bit because I'm just so used to how the cursor normally looks. So this is how it looks now though. This is when you're just hovering over nothing. An ally is the blue one. And when you have it over an enemy, it turns into a red sword. And then here's the colorblind mode. And I'm not quite sure what these three are. But this is how it looks now. It's probably best for newer beginner players because it's easier to know that sword means attacks and that this probably doesn't mean attack. You can still switch back to the old cursors via toggle options. Hell yeah. I was about to say, dude, 9.5 years. I've been playing this game for probably 5 or 6. So if they didn't give me this option to toggle it, I would have been very, very sad. Now, I will give this a good, fair try. But if I don't like it, you can bet you that I'll definitely switch back. Failing to ban a champion no longer kicks you from champ select. This is bittersweet because I feel like people should ban something. There's just so many OP champions. For you not to ban something is a bit of a slap in the face because then what if all your teammates and the enemy team don't ban anything? It basically makes you the asshole. If you don't ban something, you're an asshole. There's just no other way around it. Why not just everyone not ban anything and then it can be fucking blind pick? That's the whole concept. But it was also annoying that if you forgot to ban something, then you would be kicked from the game and have a queue timer. It counted as a dodge, which was annoying. This will definitely help with queue times and get games going along faster. It's bittersweet. It is what it is. And then we have a whole lot of bug fixes. And we have 3 upcoming skins. We have Dark Star Cho'Gath. Looks pretty dope. I mean, looking at it, you can't really tell it's Cho'Gath. If you were to just look at it right now, you'd be like, is it Cho'Gath? Like, you're not really sure. I'm not a big fan of skins where you have to question whether or not it's the champion that it was made for. And then we have Hextech Poppy. I think it looks pretty cool. I've heard a lot of people say they don't like it, but me personally, I'm a big Poppy fan. I think it looks nice. And then finally, we have the new SSG skins. We have the SSG Rakan, Xayah, Gnar, Talia, and Jarvan. Very, very cool. Kind of winter themed. I'd say that's basically just winter Gnar, and for the rest of them, just winter skins. I think the Jarvan one's kind of shit because there's already so many good Jarvan skins. It's just basically looks like a chroma compared to how awesome the other Jarvan skins already are. But if you are a big fan of the pro scene or of Team SSG, you're gonna love it. And then we have 3 new emotes. I think this one will probably be used a lot. The biggest change I'm excited about that's here now is the gold funneling strategy is now going to be a lot weaker and probably not viable. Really excited about that. Let me know what your guys' favorite changes and least favorite changes are. I'll tell you right now, my least favorite change was how they nerfed Sejuani and Shen. If you guys enjoyed this video and you want to support the channel, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. My name is KingStix. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.